It's Saturday. You know what time it is. Front Runner Podcast Collective is back on the air. I am your humble host, Vince, and on today's podcast, we will be talking about the Game 6, all the revelations we saw in that. We're also going to be talking about the preview for Game 7 and what to expect out of these two fantastic teams that have given us nothing but great memories in this NBA Finals that we've been watching, and we're going to get to that in 1 second. We're also going to be talking about the latest rumors of Kevin Durant, the long-going saga of KD, which team is he going to go to as the KD turns, or all my Durants, or what's another one? As the world turns for KD. You know what I'm talking about. It is a soap opera and is at the highest level. And of course, the most dramatic person in the NBA, KD, is right in the middle of it. So we're going to get to all of that. We're also going to get to some of the other things that are going on around the association that do not have anything to do with the finals. You know, we got to keep up on the news. Also, we will be letting you know what next week looks like, because it will be different. We will be all hands on deck. Tuesday, we're going to bring you a podcast. Wednesday night, after the draft, the first night, we will come back and we will talk about some of the trades that probably have happened. We'll talk about some of the draft picks. And then Friday, the usual, we are going to go and talk about the entire draft. So all the happenings in the 2-day period of the draft, which will be happening on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we'll come back on Friday and be like, what's up? What are we doing? Now, before we get to the rest of the pod, you know what we do here. We give out shout outs. We give out shout outs to new, I don't even know if you want to call it like clusters of people that have decided to download the podcast, which we are extremely excited about. So let's name some people out. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that have gone on. We go to the handy dandy app. You know, it gives me locations and things of that nature. And it's just wild to me every time I go on here. I see something new. I see something real crazy. And lo and behold, we got new affiliates in different areas of the country, and also in different areas of the world. So we're going to get to that right now. Now, we know we had to get talking about Saudi Arabia. But for real, Pakistan is in this piece too. Venezuela has joined the party. And I remember talking about Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But Paradise, Nevada is in this piece. I like that the Houston area has decided to join Front Runner Podcast Collective. It is absolutely amazing. And I like that Belarus is also in the building. So shouts out to my European people. Shouts out to my Middle Eastern people. I hope y'all safe. Lots of stuff going on in that region. So I hope that the podcast can bring you some joy. So, with that being said, be a friend and tell a friend about the podcast, because by doing that, you are growing our ranks. And by growing our ranks, that means you make us even more powerful than we were before. And we become more powerful. We grow together. Now, on to the podcast. On to all the news that we got to get to. And we're going to start with the NBA Finals. Now, everybody has probably talked through this situation. That's fine. I always try to come at it from a different angle, and we have done that. So, I hear that these are the lowest ratings in the NBA Finals in decades. Not enough sex appeal with the roster makeup. Not enough narrative or legacy talking points. Or are we just getting a Game 7 since 2016? It's almost been a full decade of less than dramatic NBA Finals, and now the OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers are going to a final game. This is for all the marbles. This is for all the cliches you want to talk about. Do or die, all this. But it comes down to a game 7. And the reason why it comes down to a game 7 is for one reason and one reason only. The Pacers wanted it more in game 6. They played with not just aggression, they played with intentionality. They just didn't play with the intentionality and the aggression you needed. They played it with just a level of desperation that I must have this ball. I must be able to make this shot. I must be able to grab this rebound. I am going to steal the ball from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA's MVP. And they did it with their superstar with a calf injury that did not sideline him, but it did compromise him somewhat. But we're going to get to all of that as we go along. Now, the other thing that happened in game 6 that we need to talk about is afterwards. The one thing that we've noticed with the Thunder is that they have shown either what you would consider incredible poise throughout this series and throughout this postseason, or they've been more robotic. It depends on who you talk to and how they kind of perceive what it is that the OKC Thunder are putting in front of us. They are very monotone. They do not show a bunch of emotion after these games, whether it's a win or a loss. It's kind of like on to the next one. We're going to keep our levels at the same, just even keel. We're not going to get too high. We're not going to get too low. Nothing is going to penetrate our facade. Now, I will say that maybe some emotion is good. Who knows? But the one thing that David Aldridge of the Athletic said, it says, winning 16 games, it's a crucible. It's akin to physical and mental fatigue. Not everybody makes it, and most never will. Those 16 games that you have to obtain on your way to the ring is some of the hardest games you'll ever play. Ask LeBron. I mean, he talks about, I've been in 20, he's going to be in year 21. Or what is it? Year 22? No, year 20. This is year 23 coming out. I'm so sorry. Tired. So, he talks about how he's been in probably about 27 years of basketball just because of the playoffs. They take a little piece of you away every time you go in. Because the physicality is different. Everything's not just ramped up a little bit more. What it is that that the person on the other end is going to have that intentionality that they're going to need. The closeouts are a little bit quicker. The passing lanes are a little bit slimmer. The shots, well, some are open and some you think are open until that defender comes flying at you. Because you don't have the time that you would normally have in the regular season. Because everybody's not just putting their foot on the floor of the gas pedal. But now we get to game 7. And it all matters. So let's get to it. What happened? Where are we right now? And where are we going? The first thing that we're going to do is give a little love to the Indiana Pacers. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about. We counted them out when the series started. We counted them out when it was all, for all intents and purposes, when it was 2-1 Indiana, we were still like side-eyeing Indiana like, what y'all doing? Y'all know y'all about to lose. And then OKC won 2 games in a row, and it was 3-2, and we were like, it's over. We can pack these people up. And we don't have to worry about this anymore. We'll just go ahead and start concentrating on the NBA draft. Game 6 comes to bear. And Indiana, who started this year 1-4. Halliburton was literally dragging his leg like it owed him money. Pascal Siakam was supposed to be just a quiet vet, come in here, do his thing, whatever. And TJ McConnell, bro, is built like a barista, but he runs like John Wick with court vision. He's everywhere all at once, and every time he shows up, there's going to be an impact, and it's usually going to be detrimental to you. So why are we here tied 3-3? Why did Game 6 happen? Why did the OKC Thunder get obliterated in that game? Multiple reasons, but the main reason is this. They got outplayed. For the first time I can say it in this series, OKC got outplayed. They didn't play hard enough. They didn't show enough. It wasn't impactful. They didn't let Indiana feel them at all. That crowd engulfed them. And you can say, well, they knew they had Game 7 in their back pocket, which is true. But Game 6 wasn't just basketball. It was a referendum on, hey, if you come out here and you execute your game plan, you can go ahead and be as successful as you want to be. The one thing that we have been saying the whole time is that the Pacers aren't as talented as the Thunder. That seems we need to walk that statement back now. Because not just because it's tied 3-3. It's a way that it was tied 3-3. This is a note from Soraya. Siakam's final stat line so far: 19.8 points a game, 8.3 rebounds, 4 assists. This is his production, but this is also leadership by example. This comes from Sam Amick of The Athletic. Now it's Game 7. And you can throw every algorithm out the window because this ain't about analytics. This is about nerve. This is about who wants it more. And the Thunder had the crown in their hand and they fumbled it like the final season of Game of Thrones. Y'all remember that? Everybody was pissed off about how that ended. Your boy included. I was very mad about the White Walkers and how all that went down. Not cool. Not cool at all. OKC's 21 turnovers in Game 6. Their assist to turnover ratio was 0.67. It was the lowest of the postseason. And here's the thing that was so crazy about it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has been marveled, I think scientists are now studying him. Scholars are studying him for future references on how athletic he looks, how in control he looks, and how no one seems to be able to speed him up. In Game 6, we finally saw SGA. There was a chink in the armor. Our guy was rattled. When they doubled him, when they blitzed him, he seemed hesitant. He also seemed like he didn't trust his teammates. Now, we can talk about, narratives and things of that nature, but this is what we are going to do. The Pacers were never supposed to be here. This wasn't in the script. This was an accident becoming the main feature. You remember what Kendrick Perkins said back in October. They're not going to make the playoffs. The Pacers, this is a note from Soraya, the Pacers started the year 10-15. They had a bottom 5 net rating through mid-December. We flash forward. Now, NBA Finals tied 3-3. Winner wins the Larry O'Brien. The gold ball with the hoop on it. That is what we are playing for on Sunday. Halliburton, whose calf injury, everybody was worried. Everybody was sitting here thinking, oh man, is this going to get worse? There was even statements that said that he should miss 2 to 3 weeks. He should rest the calf. He said, I'm not hearing all that. I'm going to play. I'm going to be with my guys. He came out in game 6. And not only did he come out in game 6, my man had more compression gear on than like a Marvel cinematic character. Whether you want to say with Scarlett Johansson, if you want to talk about Chris Evans, we really can't talk about our guy Robert Downey Jr. because he wore the suit. You know what I'm saying? So no compression there. But the Winter Soldier, for sure, compression. A lot of stuff. A lot of tight. Here's the best part about this. This dude was compromised and he put up a positive net rating for himself, man. Just crazy ability. And it wasn't about the shots that he made because he didn't score a bunch of points. He scored 14. It was the assists. It was the playmaking. It was all the things that he does. And this was his statement. If I can walk, I want to be out there. I deleted social media before game 6 so I can stay locked in. I didn't want any negative thoughts running through my mind whatsoever. I just wanted to be there for my teammates. He's a leader. Sacramento had him. How you feel about that, Sacramento? That was your boy. That was your boy. You traded him for Domantas Sabonis. We told you at the time it was a mistake. Told you at the time. And what about TJ McConnell? Every time he checks into Gainbridge Fieldhouse, it turns into a Rocky montage. 12 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals off the bench for TJ McConnell. Another note. This is a great note from Soraya. McConnell now is 60 plus points, 25 plus assists, 15 plus rebounds, and 10 steals for the finals off the bench. He's the only player to ever do so in the 79-year history of the NBA. Here's a undrafted player who is all of 6'0", all of 180 pounds, soaking wet. This dude fights over screens like a pit bull. He is always being an irritant on the defensive end. How many times did he deflect balls in that game? How many times did he stay kind of lean back, stay in the fight, and get a critical steal? He's been an absolute irritant, and he's been a pest for the Oklahoma City Thunder since the word go. And Pascal Siakam is giving some final boss energy. Not flashy, not viral. I'm just dropping a quiet 16 points and 13 rebounds. No big deal. Game 6 with our playoff lives on the line. No worries whatsoever. I got you. And his dunk was absolutely primal. That look away pass from Tyrese Halliburton and the dunk by Pascal Siakam was primal. You saw him just let out all the energy that he had in his body because he knew what the Pacers had done. Now here's the stat that everybody wants to talk about because this is the thing that has kind of run the NBA Finals. 23 assists for the Pacers, 11 turnovers. The Thunder had 14 assists and 21 turnovers in Game 6. That's not a stat line. That's a personality test. Again, I will tell you, for all the people who are going, if for some reason Oklahoma City loses this series, and you say, oh, well, they were fraudulent or whatever, I will just say this. The average age on that team is 23.3 years of age. So I don't know what you were like when you were 23. I know what I was like when I was 23. Now, I was a probably more of a train wreck than most of you folks out there. Because I was out here just doing wild stuff. Okay? They're going to have to grow into this, learning how to win. And just like David Aldridge said, it is hard to win 16 of these games. Now, you can win 16 games in the regular season. You can go on winning streaks and all that type of thing. But when you're playing a team for 2 weeks straight, and all they got to do is focus on you, your tendencies, which way you like the ball, which way you like to go with the ball, when times are tough, what's your go-to move? Do you have a counter to the counter? These are all things that are learned. These are all things that you go through, and then, okay, well, we got to go back to the drawing board and find something else that works, because they have seen this way too many times, and they are being proactive. They are not reactionary at all. And the reason why I say that is because if you watch how Andrew Nembhard guarded SGA in this particular game, he knew when the bump was coming. He knew when the forearm of SGA was going to hit him in the chest, so SGA could get that little space. He was able to close that gap very efficiently in Game 6. Indiana's 2.09 assist to turnover ratio led all Game 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just did it big. It just grew the league, grew it. And we'll talk about how big that league got in a second. So are the Pacers underdogs? Not anymore. That title expired the second Indiana went up by 30 in Game 6. So if you want to talk about legacy, Carlisle knows this. He's been to the mountaintop before. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has been there. He saw Game 6 against Shaq and Kobe. You know what I'm saying? He saw it. And he saw they lost. And then he went through his own crucible in 2011 and got that ring with Dirk Nowitzki. It's not about strategy anymore. It's about who can will themselves to victory. Does Oklahoma City have enough in their tanks? Are they going to be able to look within inside and figure out what the hell happened and why they're even in this spot? Another note from Soraya: the Thunder arrived with a level of carelessness that they played directly into Indiana's hands. And this is coming from Anthony Slater of The Athletic. Go read our man Anthony Slater. He usually covers the Golden State Warriors, so he has great coverage on that. So if you are a Golden State fan, he's the person that you want to definitely follow for that. But he's also now on these finals because he's one of the senior writers of The Athletic, and I enjoy his writing immensely. He gives you a lot of nuggets that either kind of just sums up or sews up some of the things you were probably thinking about when you were watching the game as well. And when he has boots on the ground and he's able to see the things that you're seeing in real time, it's really great. So I recommend Anthony Slater of The Athletic. Put him as one of your favorites and lock it in. You know what I'm saying? Patronize our guys at The Athletic. This is what I was talking about with Shai. He did not attack the blitzes. He was late getting rid of the ball on double teams with enough decisiveness, whether it was a lack of certainty of his guys in that moment or it was way more of a stretch here. The not understanding where the reads were coming from would be because Indiana varied their approach when it came to attacking SGA. And what I mean by that is that sometimes they would blitz like immediately. Sometimes they would come with like a soft double. So you would see either Andrew Nembhard or Aaron Nesmith on him. And then what would happen is that either Pascal Siakam or TJ McConnell or Tyrese Halliburton, one of them would kind of creep over, and then they would go ahead and double team. Then what they've done is that there was one time in the game, I want to say it was in the third quarter, Shai has the ball. Andrew Nembhard is on him. You see Pascal Siakam kind of like 1 foot in the lane, 1 foot outside the lane, and he just kind of just ignores his man. Who was Jalen Williams? Why is that important? We'll get to it in 1 second. I want to tell you about all the other people that showed up for SGA when he handled the ball. So TJ McConnell is out there, and he's guarding, if I'm not mistaken, he's on Cason Wallace. So, okay. So, he left Cason. He's like, okay, if you get the ball and shoot it, go ahead, my guy. We're not going to worry about that. And then Tyrese leaves his guy. And I'm sitting there like, wait. He leaves Alex Caruso. And I'm sitting there like, wait, they got 4 sets of eyes on this guy? There's somebody open. And it turned into a turnover. Because SGA just froze. Now, obviously, he has 4 Indiana Pacers. So, 4 Pacer jerseys around him. That means somebody's open. Somebody needs to cut to the hole and, present themselves so he can go ahead and throw the ball. None of that happened. Turnover happens, and it ensues into a bucket for the Pacers. It was very unlike SGA. It was very unlike the Oklahoma City Thunder team as a whole, how they play all year. And I'm going to just say, he has not been this guy all year. Because this is what he's been. This is who he is. He is a first-team All-NBA player. He now has an MVP trophy sitting at his crib. But in Game 6, that was not the SGA that has all of those accolades in his trophy case. He was in a psychological blender and he couldn't get himself out. He was sloppy. He was unfocused. A shell of his presumed MVP final self. He gets doubled, loses the dribble. He isolates, loses the pass. He posts up. Nembhard rips him. They didn't even need to double team to pick his pocket. That's not on him totally. But it is, he has to take some of the blame because you got to get the ball out. The same thing that we talked about with the Pacers and saying, do not hold the ball because if you allow OKC's defense to load up on you, it is going to be problematic. Well, by the way, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you're the NBA Finals now. So the other team on the other side, they're good too. We've been clowning this team the whole time, talking about, listen, I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. I had this as a 4-1 series, and we were like, hey, keep it moving, let's go. We're going to go ahead and get to the draft because this is a foregone conclusion. How wrong could I have been? And when your system was built around one guy's rhythm, and he's off, and everybody else starts moonwalking through the set, Chet Holmgren had 4 points in this game. He looked like Wi-Fi was lagging. Jalen Williams, who had 40 points in Game 5, started out hot, then he got erased like a burner tweet from KD. It wasn't good. It was so out of character for the Thunder that it was like, I didn't even know what the hell I was watching. We can go ahead and talk about a bunch of stuff from Game 6. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to be able to talk about that are going to lead into Game 7. But at the end of the day, the 3 games in Indy, OKC has averaged just 23 3-point attempts per game. They averaged nearly 39 per game in the regular season. So they're shooting 16 less threes a game. And again, I will tell you, the average age of this team is 23.3 years. Turnover fragility, 3-point avoidance, and over reliance on SGA isolation will get your ass beat. Lack of audible making under the defensive duties and things of that nature, get you beat. These are all warning signs that showed up in Game 6. Game 7 doesn't define a season. It stains it or stamps it. That's your narrative arc. If OKC wins, we'll pretend like Game 6 never happened. But if they lose, that's going to go on SGA's Wikipedia page, whether he likes it or not. Carlisle, this is a Carlisle quote, "This isn't about tactics, it's about trust. Game 7 becomes about belief and not X's and O's." Carlisle has been around for so long in this league, not just as a coach or assistant coach, but he also played in the league. So he's seen all the ebbs and flows that you can possibly have seen in NBA basketball. To him, there is nothing new underneath the sun. He has seen it all. Well, maybe, when Wemby showed up, he probably went, damn, I hadn't seen that, because that was crazy when Wembanyama showed up. But other than that, Carlisle's seen a ton of stuff in while as a player, as an assistant coach, and now as a head coach. So he's not going to be rattled going into Game 7. And let's not forget, OKC has been here before. Game 7 versus Denver, they fell behind. It got tight. And then they blew out Denver. It's like, oh, hold on. We was tripping. Wait, we got to wake up. Wait, sorry. Now, that's a team that didn't have any depth. Now, they had the best player in the world in Nikola Jokic. But the collective of the Pacers and the depth, because here's the thing, TJ McConnell is coming. He is just going to attack you relentlessly. He's not going to just, oh, it's Game 7, let me go into my shell and just hide out until it's over. He has shown you throughout the playoffs that he is not backing down, that he is going to continue to put the ball in the paint. And because of the fact that there is no double team coming on TJ McConnell, he is getting to his spot, which is that 8-foot fall away jump shot that he's getting over the outstretched hands of, whether it's Isaiah Hartenstein or Chet Holmgren or whoever it is. That ball is going in the hole. SGA's words. I see it as the same thing. But if we lose, the season's over in the wrong way. Well, bro, let me tell you this right now. You can sit here and give all the cliche quotes you want, but this is a different opponent. Indiana isn't just resilient. They are reckless believers in the possibility of winning an NBA championship and bringing it to the heartland of America, which is the Indianapolis area. They shouldn't even be here, which makes them the most dangerous team on earth. They're playing with house money. OKC has the home court. They got the better record. They got an MVP. But belief belongs to the Indiana Pacers. Pressure index doesn't care about seeding, doesn't care about accolades. It cares about who shows up and when the lights are burn the brightest, burn the hottest. And if Game 6 is any indication, Indiana fire is real. And here's the thing, SGA is still who he is. He's still an MVP candidate. He's still an MVP. He's a finals MVP candidate. Nothing's changed. He's still a superstar at the highest level. The problem is that you got to learn how to win. It is not just him. Again, Chet Holmgren, let's see, he has played in a total of 121 regular season games. I want you to get that visual in your head. He's been in the league 3 years. He's playing 121 games. Remember, First year, he missed the whole entire year. Really bad ankle situation. Terrible. Second year, played all 82. This year, he had the hip situation. Everything. Crazy. So he's got to learn how to win. He wasn't in the playoffs last year. He didn't get any of these reps last year. Now he's getting them. And he's finding out that, hey, I can't come with the same game plan every single night because these guys are doing their homework. These guys understand where I want the ball, where I like the ball, and where I'm going with the ball. So where's my counters to that situation? All this happens in the offseason. This is why the offseason is so important. This is why when these guys talk about the work they put in, this is the grind they're talking about. He'll come up with counters. He'll come up with moves. He'll come up with things. I hope and pray that he sticks like a picture of Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam on his wall at home. Put like an X on him. And every time he goes to train, he looks at those photos and says, not again. That will never happen again. He's been bullied. He's been bullied in these finals. And it's not because he's scared of the moment or shunning from the spotlight or anything like that. He's just physically unable to deal with some of the physicality that is going on in these NBA's finals. Now, we need to talk about TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard in the buddy cop movie they've done on SGA. These two dudes have turned every SGA possession into a trigger trap. No reach, no gamble, just precise chaos. TJ wasn't even defending him. What he was doing was just kind of waiting for the last moment. Just sitting there. Just picking apart pick and rolls. The 4 steals, the 6 assists, the 9 boards in 24 minutes. His on-off impact. It was a plus 21 swing when he was on the court. And Andrew Nembhard, he played like the younger brother at the family cookout who finally snaps and says, I got him. And then does. Yes, sir. Y'all know about that. You know, the young buck. You've been beating him all these years. You know what I'm saying? You take it for granted that this is just a rite of passage that the sun comes up in the morning and I take my little cuzzo out to the court and give him that work. And then one day, cuzzo got a little bit stronger. Cuzzo was like, nah, it's not going to be so easy this time. Cuzzo says, I'm going to drop this J in your face. And then you lose. And then the dynamic changes. Obi Toppin. Oh, yeah. Obi Toppin, that's a guy who was on the New York Knicks a couple years ago, right? And then Thibodeau didn't play him and because he wasn't as defensive-minded as he needed him to be, supposedly. What is Obi Toppin doing right now? This dude is blocking jump shots. He's being a deterrent at the rim, and then he's also spacing the floor with his 3-point barrages that he is doing. Do you know that Obi Toppin has hit the most threes in the postseason this year? I will say that again. Obi Toppin, as far as 3-pointers made in the postseason, tied for number 1. Tied for number 1. Now, here's where we get nerdy in the best way. Obi Toppin's movement blew up OKC's spatial flow. Every cut, every pop, every baseline go screen, it bent OKC's held coverage into knots. Obi Toppin touched the paint 11 times without the ball. He forced 6 defensive rotations. Synergy. It's a great situation. It had all led to 6 scoring chances, high-quality scoring chances. He didn't fill just the stat sheet. He warped the map. And he forced Case and Wallace and even Chet into rotations they had never emotionally calibrated for yet. OK's youth has talent, but in these finals, the talent has gotten stress tested in the worst way. All the flaws have been seen. And those reps, they're liabilities until they're not. Chet was guessing out there. Wallace was reaching. And Jalen Williams, who I love the guy, he looked like he was just trying to be close. Just let me just be in the vicinity, because he looked completely lost. And this is why Indiana doesn't need to dominate the possession by possession. They just need to inject their just movement. If they just move, they continue to move. If they continue to do that, they're going to be hard to stop. They're going to be hard to guard. For some reason, you get to OKC, that crowd is on top of you. Maybe it's a different story. Maybe your role players don't move as well as they did when they were playing free and easy at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. But Game 7, you can't worry about where you're playing. You can play on Mars. You can play on Jupiter. You can play at the bottom of the damn sea with the Little Mermaid. I don't care where the hell you play. But you got to bring it. You got to bring the energy. You got to bring the ruckus. You got to bring the funk. Again, Rick Carlisle has been to the top of the mountains in 2011, where he led the Mavs to the NBA Finals and won that championship. Mark Dagnall is the youngest coach in the finals since Bill Russell coached himself. Think about that. So we talking about what, 1969? That's right. And now Mark Dagnall is in this crucible. What does he have left? I don't know. What does he have up his sleeve? We'll find out in Game 7. They play fast. We play with purpose. Finals philosophy. That was from Rick Carlisle. So now, what are some of the things that we can look forward to in Game 7? Staggered Siakam and Ogie Toppin to maintain movement integrity. What are you going to get from Ben Mathurin? And does he get a quick hook? Do they need to tighten the rotation emotionally? Let Halliburton run 0 pick and rolls in the third quarter. They went to dribble handoffs and go screens. You want to help OKC? Let's do it. You need to get SGA off the ball sooner. I don't understand why we left Game 5 and we had Jalen Williams as a de facto point guard just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And then in Game 6, we got SGA out here looking like Gary Payton circa 1993. You got to use Chet more as a trailer. And then you got to give Jalen Williams the basketball. Get SGA off ball. Have him come down, be in the corner, come up from a pin down screen or a Spain pick and roll. Let him go ahead, weave him way through to the nail, and then get the ball. You can't just sit there and just allow Indiana to load up on him. Game 7 won't be won by X's and O's. It'll be won by who adapts in real time. And Carlisle is made for this. So, who do I got in Game 7? Let's get there. Game 7 is where your name either becomes a myth or it becomes just a footnote. No more context. No more, okay, we got this person. No. Now, it's down to pains and gains. We have talked about the 23.3 for a long period of time. That doesn't matter in Game 7. It's either you get it done or you don't. You got home field advantage. You played all year, 82 games. You're 68-14. Comes down to one game. This is why you damn near won 70 games this year to play Game 7 in the NBA Finals at Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, where the crowd will be loud. It will be deafening in there. And I'm going to tell you right now, if TJ McConnell does TJ McConnell things and Tyrese Halliburton is not stress tested enough on that calf, because I'm going to tell you right now, they didn't do enough. They didn't put him in enough actions. They didn't stress him at all. I'm telling you right now, this dude got a couple more days of rest, and now he's coming into Game 7. Every NBA great has a Game 7 script. Willis Reed limping onto the Garden. Bronze block in Oakland. Steph's 30-piece in Houston. It's this Game 7's turn to write somebody in ink. SGA has an MVP. What will he have after this game? Same with Siakam. Will it be a second ring with a second team? That's historical tier right there. And if Carlisle wins, making the finals, Hall of Fame, lock. If he loses it, is he still that dude with the ring from 2011 who we think the game has passed him by? That was some of the whispers when he got fired out of Dallas. Oh, he doesn't communicate well with the young players. We think that, the style of how you talk to the young players has passed Rick Carlisle by. Really? Really? Dude's in the finals. Again. Being super successful again. So what does Game 7 come down to? It comes down to a deflection. A sideline out of bounds read. A third quarter substitution. It's not a movie script stuff. It's not about a blockbuster. It's not about final season of The Wire or anything like that. This is real decisions, real weight, in real time. In the last 3 closeout attempts, Indiana has allowed 91.4 points per game. Best of any playoff team. So you think Carlisle doesn't know that stat? You don't think Siakam is not having flashbacks to that Clay chase down in 2019? And what do you think SGA is doing right now? He had 8 turnovers in Game 6. 8 of them. Just 2 assists. He didn't trust the floor anymore. And you saw it. You saw the way he reacted. OKC was up 3-2. And now they are hanging on for dear life. Hanging on for dear life. Does Jalen Williams score 40 again? I don't know. Will SGA go off for his typical 30-some-odd points? Maybe. I will say this about it. I think the Pacers was going to shock the world. I think the Pacers are going to go into Oklahoma City. They are going to stare that team in the eye and trust and believe that first quarter is going to be a barrage that we have never seen before. We are going to see the best of OKC in the first quarter. Can Indiana weather the storm? Can they outrun the Thunder? I don't know if the others of OKC have enough in their tank to combat what I believe now is real confidence and real courage that TJ McConnell has shown. Andrew Nembhard looks like he's like, well, this is what I do. I come into the playoffs and I just wreck shop. Aaron Nesmith is an absolute crash test dummy. He's an absolute just stunt double for, like, I know Tom Cruise does all his stunts in Mission Impossible movies, but if he didn't do all of them, Aaron Nesmith would be his stunt double. This dude is absolutely nuts, crazy. And they have enough crazy in them to go into Paycom Center and win this game. And there's no shade to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think we talked about your historical net rating all year. We knew that you had a big three coming in Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren and SGA. But they are on their home court, and those guys need to come to play. And I believe they will come to play. My whole thing is that are you not just, you got to be able to match their physicality, you got to be able to match their intensity, and you got to be able to match their intentionality. And if you don't do any of those things, you're going home. And you're going home without the prize. So let's get into this other situation that happened this week. The Los Angeles Lakers got sold, ladies and gentlemen. Jeanie Buss and the 5 other siblings who never could get on the same page. They sold the majority share to Mark Walter, who is of the Guggenheim Group, who owns the Dodgers, and now he is the new owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. What can we expect? The Buss family? Hey, let's do this. Most famous ownership tree in basketball. Mark Walter, Dodgers kingpin, LAFC backer, the man with the quiet billions and the public leverage. The Mark Walter Group would become the first ownership group in history to control both Major League Baseball and NBA franchises in the same market. So my man has created history, and he's been on the job 2 days. Now, the Genie equation is weird. It's kind of like the Mark Cuban thing, but we're going to get into it right quick. Jeanie Buss has done what we could say is she kept the house that Dr. Buss built mostly intact. LeBron came, a title followed, but between the rings were years of just weird hires, family squabbles, and front office feng shui gone bad. 2013. They've had 6 head coaches. They've had 3 full front office restructures. Tied for most in the West since 2013. And now the buzz is that Jeanie is still going to be the governor, because they've held on to 17% of the team. But that does not exclude Mark Walter at all. Because if you think he's going to be completely silent and kind of not have any teeth into this organization, you would be absolutely wrong. Look at the Dodgers. Look at how they're built. And then you tell me. Because Mark Walter buys the team, and Jeanie Buss influences, fades. What happens to the Clutch Sports gravitational pull? LeBron's future. Rich Paul's influence. It was all tethered to Jeanie Buss and their relationship with Jeanie. Now we got a new king in town. Okay, named Mark Walter. The Lakers hired Darvin Ham with the Clutch backing. The Russell Westbrook trade was approved by Clutch. Aligned voices. Mark Walters has no loyalty to these people whatsoever. He's colder. It is corporate. It is calculated. And from what we know, it's not easily influenced by players' favor networks at all. This opens the door to real change. Will there be a general manager reorganization? Poaching execs from like Denver, Miami, or Toronto? Or Orlando or Oklahoma City? By the way, Bob Myers is still sitting out there. You imagine what that would look like? What happens if Bob Myers becomes the president of player personnel and Rob Pelinka is the GM? This is bigger than trades or jerseys. This is a cultural identity realignment. The Lakers have always been Hollywood meets hardwood. But Walter's track record says data over drama. The Dodgers increased their win percentages by 18% in 3 seasons post Walter's buy-in, reduced the marquee signings, increased the farm development, and spent a ton of money on analytics. Do you think this model will fit with the Lakers? Can LA stomach a Lakers team that is boring but elite? A Lakers team that drafts and develops instead of chasing stars. We're never going to stop chasing stars. Because the one thing I'm going to say about that is this. You got Mookie Betts. You got Shohei Ohtani. Okay? We're going to have stars. Because we in La. We in LA. We are always going to get them. By the way, we got Luka. We got LeBron. You don't think people are going to want to play with Luka? Shit, if you're a shooter worth your weight in salt, guess what? Probably want to go play with Luka. This isn't going to be a rebuild. What it's going to be is a slow burn transformation. The Lakers are staring down an existential portal. Step through and you're just basically the Spurs with better lighting and also more games on ESPN. I will be so excited about this as it continues. Now, how does this affect free agency? Let's get into that. Lakers in free agency used to be like the Summer Olympics, courtships, casting calls, splash, spectacle, and sign on the dotted line. Now, it's different. We don't know what it's going to look like the first year, but we have a pretty good guess of what it's going to look like year 2, year 3, year 4. It might be the first ripple of Mark Walter math. But let's get into it. Let's talk reality. Right now, the Lakers, their cap space, not dreamy. The roster is filled with a lot of holes. There's 2 timelines smashed into one. LeBron is going into year 23. He is expected to go into and get his pick up his player option, which is about $52 million. The Lakers have a MLE flexibility unless they trade key contracts like Rui or Reeves. They're not trading Reeves. So this summer isn't about fireworks. It's about floor raising. Names you should hear. Names you want to hear. Gary Trent Jr. Tyus Jones. D'Anthony Melton. Bruce Brown. Again. None of these are on billboards on Sunset. They're structural integrity pieces, which is exactly what you expect from a front office in transition. So what does the Dodgers model say about the Lakers' future? Let's look at the track record. Farm system over flash. Analytics before narratives. Spending on the right people. Mookie Betts. Rare Supermax. Since 2013, the Dodgers have added 7+ All-Stars after acquiring them after undervalued assets not on bidding wars. Translations to Lakers. Draft capital finally matters. Development staff becomes sacred. Your trade early, not desperate. You sign to fit, not to flex. The Lakers could become the NBA's version of the Houston Astros if they wore Prada. Which is insane. Think about that. But also genius. I think what you're looking at right now is you're looking at, can the Lakers take the 55th overall pick, then with cash considerations move up into the early part of the second round. What I'm looking forward is no less than the 38th to 39th overall selection. That's kind of the area that I'm looking in. And I wonder, can the Lakers figure out a way, because there's a lot of teams that got multiple picks in this draft. Can the Lakers get and buy basically a second round pick from one of these teams that have like 4 or 5 picks in this draft? Because there are a lot of teams that have multiple picks in this draft. I want to say there's like 7 teams that have like 3 picks or more in this draft. You can't sign all of them. OKC has multiple picks in this draft. They already have 15 players underneath contracts. So what does that mean? Oh, if we draft players, guess what? We either A, have to let players go, or B, we have to trade these picks. Who is going to capitalize on this? Now, before, when Jeannie Buss was running the team, and no shade on Jeannie, she had other mouths to feed. You know what I'm saying? She had 5 brothers and sisters, and not all of them were real jazzed about spending money on players and development and things of that nature. This is why we have one of the smallest analytics departments in the entire NBA. This is why it took a while for the upgrade of the practice facility and things of that nature, because you are talking about people been living off this Laker money for years. Now, Dr. Jerry Buss, that man cared about winning and winning only. Best money could buy. Let's go get it. If we need it, let's get it. The kids were a little bit different. Now, Jeannie had the heart of a lion, but the 2 sisters, Now, Jesse and Jim, who are tied to the team now, one works in the front office as far as like scouting and what have you. The other one is behind the scenes making deals, being part of that corporate sponsorship partnership. It's a big thing for those 2. They were aligned with Jeannie. The sisters were not. They wanted just to pet their dog on their lap, put them in their product bag, and go to hot yoga. That's what they wanted to do. Jeannie wanted to win championships. You can see how the dichotomy changed. You can see how it was split. This isn't a rebuild. It's a restructure. It's a long game of sovereignty. And yes, it's less fun. Yes, it's less chaos. But the Lakers have been living in chaos. Has been their drug of choice for a long period of time. We've always thought about, the offseason. Oh, what's the Lakers going to do? What's going to happen? You're going to have rhetoric over here. You're going to have tough words over here. You're going to have things that are said, and then they're going to have to be walked back because we're not going to be able to do it. And the person who's been put front and center for these type of situations has been Rob Pelinka. Now, does his arms get untied behind his back? Is he now, do we find out that Rob Pelinka is pretty damn smart, and now that he has the financial ramifications and flexibility, do we find out that this dude was a genius the whole time and he just basically was stymied by the Buss family and the drama that goes on between them? Or are we going to find out that, hey, we need to find another dude to oversee what Pelinka's doing and be right there when the iron is hot and we got to strike? Do we have a decisive decision maker in the building? Maybe we find out Pelinka is this guy. Maybe we find out we need to get that guy. But I will tell you this. It's coming. And what I mean by that is this. Go look at the organizational chart of the Dodgers. And then you go look at the Lakers organizational chart. It is very sparse on the Lakers side. It's very robust on the Dodgers side. That's what's coming, folks. There are going to be more voices in that room. The Dodgers are like prestige TV, and the Lakers are like reality dating shows. Mark Walter is going to want to flip those genres. So in 2026, it's not going to be another big 3. It's going to be a connected 9. Cohesive, deep, long. All the things that we see in OKC, all the things that we've been struggling for and wanting. The days of losing Alex Caruso because we couldn't afford him, those days are gone. If Alex Caruso can help this team win, guess what? He will stay. So whoever the next Alex Caruso is, we in good hands. We in good hands. Now, last thing I want to get to before we get out of here, Ime Udoka signed a long-term contract with the Houston Rockets. I'm excited about that. 2 reasons why. Ime Udoka is one of the toughest dudes in the league. He demands discipline. He demands a type of impactful play. He demands a rigidity of understanding that we care about the basketball and we care about defense. And everywhere he's gone, whether it's been in Boston or with the Rockets, this dude has brought success with him. And guess what? They said, hey, we see you, player, and we want to make sure you're here for a long period of time, and we're going to give you a bunch of money. Because he's not in the 7-figure amount anymore. No. Ime Udoka, my guy, is in that 8-figure amount. Yes, sir. He's in the double digits of millions. And couldn't happen to a better dude. Shouts out to our guy, Ime Udoka. Get your money, player. We proud of you. You know what I'm saying? We are proud of you. I want to talk, before we get up out of here, I want to talk about 2 things and 2 things only. We need to talk about the draft that is coming up. And the reason why we need to talk about this bad boy is because of this reason. On the 25th and 26th, the NBA will be holding their draft. It will be a 2-night event. You say, well, Vince, you will podcast Tuesday, and you will give us the latest on what the draft is going to hold. You are absolutely correct with that. But you also know what's going to happen? Wednesday night, Soraya and I are going to light up the mics, and we are going to go through the draft. We're going to have due diligence. We're going to be marking every pick. We're going to look at all the trades that happen, and then what we're going to do is get on these mics, and we are going to give you our observations on the first round. Groundbreaking stuff for Frontrunner Podcast Collective, I know, but the day and the tone has changed. You will get that podcast, no doubt. And we're also still on Kevin Durant watch as I look at my phone to see if Shams have sent any notifications that we have not seen yet. But so far, so good. Kevin Durant is still a Phoenix Sun, which is crazy. And the reason why he's still a Phoenix Sun is for 2 reasons. 1, shocking. Phoenix does not like the offers they are currently receiving for Kevin Durant. Interesting. So you tell me that there is apprehension from these other NBA franchises about a 37-year-old who's had an Achilles injury prior, has had multiple lower limb injuries over the last decade, and we saw a little, if you want to call it, a little regression last year, so to speak. Maybe not in the scoring situation, but definitely on the defensive end. He wasn't moving the way he was moving a couple years ago. And you wonder why the offerings aren't as robust as they have been prior. Remember, Kevin Durant, well, first of all, Matt Ishbia was the fool that Brooklyn needed, because they gave up Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and every pick that wasn't nailed down, they gave it to Brooklyn. And now your picks are all over the league. Houston got some. I think Minnesota got some. Somebody else got, I think OKC has some. Oh, by the way, this is West Clark.
They asked San Antonio. This is what Phoenix asked San Antonio. Hey, we want Stephon Castle and the second overall pick. You know what San Antonio did? They went click. Hey, dog, you call us back when you serious. That's what Brian Wright said to the powers be in Phoenix. You call us back when you real serious about making a Kevin Durant trade, and you don't come with these comical, like Eddie Murphy style monologues as far as your draft compensation that you want back for Kevin Durant. It's like, do you understand where we are in our growth period? We got Victor Wembanyama. It's not like we need Kevin Durant. We're just like seeing if we can kind of upgrade ourselves so we start winning right now. But if you're telling us that we got to give up our whole entire squad except for Victor to you, then you can kick rocks and go down the road and try to sell that to somebody else. By the way, Houston's not buying it either. Because Houston has said, yo, you can have Jalen Green and this. And Phoenix is gone, nah, this is not good enough. And Houston's like, well, you will call us back when you're ready to have some sort of real negotiation. Which now, here's the best part. What we're hearing now is that it's Minnesota, Houston, and Miami. There was a point where Minnesota was out. Remember, Kevin Durant said, my preferred destination is San Antonio, Texas. They've gone to Kevin and said, hey, we don't think this is going to be possible to send you to San Antonio because they're giving us absolute garbage in return for you. And we can't just take just any old thing. So you are going to be melancholy for a little bit longer, my guy. So for the trade that we thought was going to happen last week, for the trade that we thought was going to happen sometime this weekend, doesn't look like it is going to go down this weekend. Even though, as much as I said we will do emergency pod when it does, I might not have to do one. Because these offers for Phoenix aren't acceptable. But maybe it would be more acceptable if you wouldn't have a 7-foot pouting ass forward on your squad. And the reason why he was pouting is because you tried to trade him. You tried to undermine and trade him during the trade deadline this last season. In the 2024-2025 season, you sat there and tried to stealth trade him to the Golden State Warriors. And then Kevin Durant had to put the kibosh on that. Then we hear that Rich Kleiman is working with the front office of the Phoenix Suns to help them get a deal done and get people to the table. Say what you want about Jeannie Buss. Say what you want about Clutch having their claws into the Lakers organization. The one thing about having that situation go down the way it has, it's been an incredible working relationship. Now, not everything has gone smoothly. Not everything is sweet. But the one thing that you don't hear out of Rich Paul's mouth is his relationship with Jeannie Buss being fractured in any way whatsoever. You know why? Because Jeannie Buss said, hey, LeBron James is a star, right? Here with the Los Angeles Lakers, we take care of our stars. Point blank, simple, cut and dry. Matt Ishquid, you have a lot to learn, my guy. I understand that you've made a lot of money in your various ventures out there. I know that you are a mortgage loan king. I understand what you've done to the business. I understand that you are a absolute loyal Michigan State Spartan. Now your whole organization is Michigan State. The only thing you don't have is Tom Izzo. But if you wanted Kevin Durant to be kind of congenial, and you wanted him to be more docile and be kind of like in your corner to make this whole thing work, don't undercut him and try to trade him without his knowledge. That's one of your pillars. You trying to trade out from under him? So now you will accept the offers that are out there. I will tell you, here is the one team that I want you guys to keep an eye out on. If the offers get low enough, watch out for the Detroit Pistons. I believe that the Detroit Pistons, if for some reason the offer doesn't go right with Houston, I think Detroit can find their way into this. Now, they might only be keeping Kevin Durant for 1 year. This might be a Toronto Raptors situation. But if the offers get small enough, Detroit Pistons might enter this situation and then scoop up Kevin Durant on the cheap, on the low, which would be absolutely amazing. A team that won 14 games 2 years ago makes the playoffs this year. Cade Cunningham looks like an absolute stud and a certified G. Jaden Ivey's coming back, and we saw what he was doing before he got hurt. All the vibes are good in Detroit. You got Jalen Rose out there saying Detroit basketball. You got Chris Webber in the building. You bring heat. You get KD there, and it's gonna be a wrap. So it is going to be interesting as we get closer and closer to the draft situation. And again, we are going to be bringing you a bunch of draft coverage this week, so stay locked with us at Front Runner Podcast Collective. I would like to thank Saraya. I would also like to thank Maya. We have a role for her, but she's helping us on the blog side and also with titles and everything like that. She is absolutely incredible at what she does. I like to thank my boy Vance for helping us out as well, getting us some information as far as some of these stats that we are been talking about. We are a collective, and tell you this, the best part of you is you. Make sure that you surround yourself with people who are supporting you, who have your best interest at heart at the level that they need to be. You want to have people who will be able to tell you the truth. You want to have people that will also be able to not support your dreams, but also be able to like speak into existence, like help you out. You know, not money wise. I'm talking about like when you down and you need that just encouragement. Do you have that person or people in your life that are able to help you out? Who's exhibiting these behaviors? If you have these people in your life, acknowledge them. Appreciate them for what they are doing for you. Send them a text. FaceTime them. If you're around them, hug them. Tell them how much their support means to you. Because we're stronger together than we are apart. And if you have people like that in your life and you're doing those type of things, well, we always have a seat here ready for you at Front Runner Podcast Collective, because you're being a friend and you're telling a friend about the podcast, and you have support that you absolutely need, because in this life, with everything that goes on, with all the negativity that goes on, having supportive people that can back you is an incredible driving force and be very impactful in your life. So I hope that you do have that, and if you don't, come talk to your boy Vince. We here for you 24 hours, 7 days a week. We do only pod Tuesdays and Fridays. We do got the occasional emergency pod, which Kevin Durant, get your ass to a team, dog. Can we get this done before the draft? You know what I'm saying? Get this shit squared so we can go. Don't be having me out here at like 12:30 at night doing a podcast, dog. I'm telling you right now, I'll come to Phoenix myself. You don't want them problems, Kevin. You don't want them problems, dog. Alright, so we up out of here. I've been stupid. It's time for me to go. Y'all be easy. We'll see you on Tuesday unless Kevin Durant is traded. Deuce.